Ladies and gentlemen, Tesla stock had a pretty good day today. We will discuss what is likely coming next for Tesla stock heading into and then after the Robotaxi event. It seems like Wall Street is starting to grow a little bit more excited for this event. But yes, there are some Tesla haters out there. Tony Sacconaghi is one of them. And this clip posted to CNBC says, quote, Tesla will find it difficult to leapfrog existing players like Uber and Waymo. Now, even though I don't agree with this opinion, my bias is Tesla stock is going to have a better product and a larger reach than Waymo. They may end up partnering with Uber someday. That's not too far out the realm of speculation, in my opinion. But I do think you guys, Tesla investors, viewers of this channel, deserve to hear the bearish takes on Tesla as well. What good would it be if I get on here every day and only talk about the good things? Now, yes, there's a lot more good things than bad things, so we talk about the good things a lot more often. But what good would it truly be if I didn't share the negative? Share the negative opinions or the negative news? That's just not fair to you. So we're actually going to start off this video with this clip from Tony Sacconaghi. Sit back and enjoy the bullshit.
Right now is Bernstein Senior Research Analyst Tony Sacconaghi. Good morning to you. What do you expect we're going to hear? We've been waiting for this news for a long time. I think it's exciting to many, but also for many, there's some skepticism about when it will actually arrive.
Good morning, Andrew. Yes, I think the consensus is that Tesla will announce a dedicated Robotaxi model, likely to be available at some point in the future, let's say 27 or 28. That Tesla will demonstrate a application whereby a ride-hailing app. That it will provide some kind of update on where they are on full self-driving and maybe also potentially announce that it's doing some Robotaxi trials. I expect if they did that, those would have to be with an accompanying driver, but nevertheless starting trials in one or more cities in the U.S. I think that's generally what's expected amongst investors. There are big questions about whether Tesla will provide updates on Optimus Robot or whether it will provide an update on new models, particularly, the revamped models expected early next year or a lower cost model expected in 27. But I think the focus will ultimately be on a Robotaxi, unveiling itself and an accompanying ride-hailing app.
So, Tony, we're looking at the stock now at $242.90. If, in fact, they make this announcement, how does this change the game? How does this change how you would value this company?
Well, I think investors are applying different probabilities and discount rates to a Robotaxi service going forward. And so I think it's widely anticipated, but as you noted at the outset, there are lots of questions. There are technical questions about whether Tesla can get to the reliability level with a more limited sensor suite. They only have cameras. Other competing autonomous vehicles have LiDAR and radar, so there's a technical question. I think there's a regulatory question. There's a timing question. And, how competitive is this space going to be? Are prices going to be driven down, and how much value will there be to be captured? So investors are ascribing different probabilities and timing to these scenarios.
What probabilities are you ascribing to those things, and how are you doing the valuation then?
Well, here's how I think about it, Andrew, is I think it will be difficult for Tesla to leapfrog existing players. Uber, Waymo, and others are doing level 4 Robotaxi service today in multiple cities. Even if Tesla is able to leapfrog, I think it'll be a limited year advantage. So let's say in a year, Tesla has level 5 Robotaxis. They can go anywhere. They have a ride-hailing service. My guess is competitors are going to catch up reasonably quickly. So this notion of having sustained outside profits, even if Tesla were to leapfrog given the technical hurdles and the regulatory hurdles, I think are difficult. And the valuation of Uber is $150 billion. The valuation of Uber, probably in the U.S. is half of that, $75 billion. Tesla stock today embeds we think $600 billion beyond the core auto business, much of that ascribed to Robotaxi. So we struggle with that differential given the probabilities that I outlined.
But let me ask you this in terms of just the competition piece of it, which is to say, you made the argument that you think that Uber and Waymo will have an advantage, maybe given LiDAR and other things, over Tesla. There is an argument to be made, and maybe you'll disagree with it, which is that they have a number of they have thousands, tens of thousands of these cars on the street today that have cameras on them. They're taking in data that can't really be matched. If you look at some of their self-driving features right now, they clearly seem to be the leader or the most advanced in terms of where that would be if you were to sort of set aside what Waymo is doing. Is there an argument to be made that they will leapfrog everybody and that they, in some ways, already have?
Well, I think the bull case is they will leapfrog. I think it's very difficult to say they already have because Waymo is doing 100,000 rides a month right now with essentially a perfect safety record in multiple cities. Tesla's nowhere close to that.
I mean, to the last point that he was trying to make, did Tesla already leapfrog ahead of everyone else? The clear and obvious answer is yes. For any of you guys that have followed Tesla, that know a reasonable amount of Tesla, this has already happened. And I'll tell you why that is. Because Tesla is really trying to, yes, do what Waymo is doing, in terms of company-owned and operated robotaxis. Like, that's going to be a thing. Tesla's going to have their fleet. Waymo has their fleet. But the big differential between Tesla and Waymo and what Tesla is doing is Tesla is creating a software product that anyone can use. Obviously, FSD, right? And to have LiDAR sensors on big, bulky things on people's cars like that would never be a selling point for people. Okay, so when Tesla actually succeeds with their software endeavors with the Robotaxi, you're going to be able to sign your Tesla up on that Robotaxi network. This is a massive leap above everyone else, because instead of just being in cities, couple dozen cities, company owner operated vehicles. Yes, Tesla's again going to have that. You're going to potentially be able to launch globally for the Tesla Robotaxi system, right? Eventually it'll be in China. Eventually it'll be in Europe. Eventually it'll be all over the United States. Do you know how long it would take Waymo to get global with what they're trying to do? Let me tell you. It will never happen in your lifetime. Okay, it won't happen. Like it might be a couple generations from now that you've seen Waymo global at this pace in which they're rolling out. So that's really the true advantage with Tesla. Is everyone's going to be able to sign up their vehicles if they wanted to. Now, pricing and how that would work is obviously a totally different question, but Tesla will become very much a revenue sharing company, kind of like Google, right? If you make YouTube videos, Google takes 30%, you get 70%. It's really, I feel like it's closer to about 50%, but either way, there's the revenue sharing aspect that Tesla is really trying to pursue. And that is going to have very, very, very high margins, like damn near 100%. And that's where the real profitability will come in for Tesla, even if, yes, rides are cheaper or some of the other arguments that people want to make. Now, I actually agree with Tony Saganagi in the things that we're expecting to see. We are, yes, expecting to get a app that is rolled out. We're expecting to get some kind of demonstrations. Now, I do think hearing some kind of beta testing going on in select cities would be an upside surprise for Tesla stock. I don't think that is fully baked into Tesla stock at this point. And if we were to hear something along those lines, I think Tesla would react very positively to the upside, because that actually changes things from a concept to something that is actually being implemented. And something being implemented with the Robotaxi is going to be a game changer for Tesla. Now, as I've said before here on this channel, and I will say it again, the thing that really matters in regards to the Robotaxi event is, do we get guidance for the Robotaxi in 2025, or is that a 2026 thing? I think you're going to get guidance for 2025. Question then is, first half or second half of the year? It's probably going to be the second half of the year, but I would still think that is positive for Tesla stock, especially in this environment where the Fed is now cutting rates and trying to make sure the economy does not slip into a recession. Now, in recent weeks, hedge funds institutions have grown more bullish on Tesla stock. You can see for this Friday's expiration, option expiration that is, October 11th, 2024, you have open interest of about 60% calls, 40% puts. Over the past week, you have seen 1,435 different trades totaling $1.01 billion with a positive order value of 64%. Now, today, you have 135 different trades totaling $123 million with a positive order value of 87%. So it's very positive. At the same time, you have seen over 30 million shares that have been covered in Tesla stock over the past 2 months or so, which is also a very positive sign. It seems like every day we have more and more shares that are being on net covered. So currently you have 2.76% short interest of free float, $18.45 billion currently sold short in Tesla, totaling 76.62 million shares that are currently sold short. Now here on the day today, you did see markets do well, but it was all big tech. Let's just be honest there. It was all big tech. And, you know, I don't know if the playbook of Mag 7 is coming back. Now, if 10-year treasury yields stay higher, if the economic data continues to come in as good as we've seen, especially last week with the jobs report, you're probably going to go back to 7 stocks dominating the markets. And I think Tesla is going to be really included in that, as you've seen today. Now, for better or for worse, that could be really good news for Tesla. Now, what we kind of seen last time around, where Mag 6 was really popular for almost 2 years and really led the markets for almost 2 years, Tesla did not participate. Now, if that's the same game plan that comes back, Tesla may not participate. So it's hard to say exactly if Tesla is going to participate. It is today, but that is a very much uncertainty at this point. Personally, I think between now and the Robotaxi event, which takes place on Thursday, it's kind of a toss-up what happens to Tesla stock. Okay, Tesla could rally into that event or do nothing into that event. I do decisively think as long as Q3 earnings are not bad, as long as geopolitical, tensions do not continue to just spiral, Tesla stock after the event is going to do very well. In other words, I think Tesla just by itself is set up in a good position. I don't know how the markets are going to be, though. I don't really think the election is much of an issue for markets. I don't know how the Israel strike is going to go, if that is going to cause a larger, spike in oil markets. If that happens, then we have a big problem on our hands from the market's perspective. I don't know if that's going to happen, though. I'm not on the, IDF, council. I don't have an inside scoop to what the Israeli military is going to do. So I cannot give a accurate judgment of what is going to happen over the next couple of weeks. I do know the risks. I do know the possible, implications for different events. If there is no hindering of Iran's oil production capabilities, markets will buy the attack, most likely. Could you see a little bit of fear? Yeah, I'm sure. But as long as there is no spike to energy markets, you're likely just going to see business as usual in markets. From that perspective, economy strong. Let's say Q3 earnings are also okay, and you're in a very favorable scenario for Tesla, and likely get that rally well into the 300s over the next coming weeks. On the opposite end of the spectrum, say that Israel does attack Iran's oil capabilities, then you probably get a market crash, almost certainly. because of the financial implications that will have for the U.S. economy. Let's say you don't get an attack on, Israel's energy or Iran's energy infrastructure, but let's say Q3 earnings disappoint. Then I think it could be a bit of a mixed bag. Maybe you do get that seasonal correction. And then I would imagine that's probably a buying opportunity at that point, right? So there's so many different scenarios here with geopoliticals, Q3 earnings, that it's really hard to come to any kind of conclusion. I would say if we didn't have the geopolitical stuff going on, this would be a clear rally after the Robotaxi event. But the geopolitical stuff, the energy market turmoil that we could see really throws a big wrench in that. And some people are going to say, isn't a spike in oil good for Tesla? Maybe, yeah, possibly, but it's bad for the economy. Like a spike in oil, something like we seen in 2022, or maybe even higher than $120 a barrel, that was the high we seen in 2022, would most certainly push us into a recession. That would not be good for Tesla. So yes, there's a lot of uncertainties here. I would say the probabilities are more favorable for a rally after the Robotaxi event, well into the 300s. I would say that's probably a 60% likelihood at this point. I think there's probably a 40% likelihood that, things go bad in the Middle East or earnings disappoint or something along those lines that does not give us that rally. So unfortunately, I think there's way too much uncertainty to know anything definitively. And I think you should trade and position yourself according to that anything is possible. Be prepared for a large rally. Be prepared for markets to fall considerably from here and for Tesla stock to fall considerably from here. So it's just my take. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.